Sugars, we are talking Queer Eye today, episode 7, and the Fab Five have to make over a comedian whose style is not so funny. Let's get into it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Charles picked our music again.
I pick it every week. I'm in Saint-Tropez. You feel like you're in Saint-Tropez?
You always pick like the twinkiest music at the rage.
No, this is a rave. This is dancing in the middle wearing all white, sweaty, full of glitter at a rave.
Living your best life.
And your
Go
worst
get
life.
checked, please.
Yeah.
When we do White Room shots, like they have the cutaway shots of them in the White Room, this is the music
this
that
song.
plays
Yes, it
to
is.
it for sure.
We should do this. I wanted Jimbo just blowing a kiss like Jonathan.
I love jazz.
There was a
Hello.
syphilis outbreak in Palm Springs.
Yes, there is. Hey everybody, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is your Queer Eye recap show. We're on episode 7, Below Average Joe. And I like this episode. I'm super excited to jump into it. Let's introduce our panel, which is all fully here. Let's begin. Charles Conoly.
I'm Charles Conley. Hi, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm James Franck, and I'm glad we're all together.
Yeah, finally.
Guys, Hollywood Lian Castillo here.
And everybody, I'm Matt Marr, and I'm jealous because Lian went to Taylor Swift last night.
I did. Front row.
What?
Got my little peg
Oh my goodness.
so I could videotape perfectly.
So
Were you
jealous.
in the snake pit?
We'll have to talk
I was in the snake pit, center.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to talk about that on the Twitters, and we'll give you that information later. So we're recapping the show today. Also, we're gonna talk about did he keep it up? Did our below average Joe, did he
stay below average?
I hope so.
Did he stay below average? Did he succeed in his comedy finale at the end? And did Antoni smell something this week? And hint, he did, everybody.
You smell something every week.
It's true. He does. He smells something every week. All right, so let's jump into it. So the guys are in the truck. They get the email. So Joe, I'm going to mess up his last name. It's Gallios, I believe is the way they said it. Gallios?
Sure.
And his brother nominated him for this. So they're both stand-up comedians. His brother's a stand-up comedian as well. And he nominated his brother because his brother had recently lost, what was it, 120?
115, I think you said,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, after 100, who's counting?
Which is like how much I weigh.
Oh, gosh.
That's literally like losing another person.
I
It
mean,
really is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of weight. And the way he said, he's like, I just kind of ate better and then I just worked out more. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't lose 20 pounds
Yeah.
For the life of me.
for the life of me. So anyway, so his brother nominated. So let's talk about some things in Joe's life that the Fab Five found that probably are not desirable.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about the zit on his forehead? Because it was huge.
It was all episode. No, but the thing was
Just,
like
they photoshopped it out of his picture
I know.
later.
I was really
Didn't
happy
even-
for it.
Didn't even notice it.
his brother did nominate him, but like right off the bat, whenever they first went into his bedroom, it looked like he was just a permanent little brother. Wasn't he the little brother?
He was.
Yeah.
And he was like, he had the Green Bay Packers poster, and they were making fun of him, but like in a very charming Queer Eye way.
Yes.
Of like reading him about like all of this like kid stuff.
Oh, a
that's, like,
12-year-old lives here.
Yeah,
Looks like a
12-year-old.
I was
like
expecting like
comics.
Castle Grayskull any
Yeah.
second,
Yeah.
which I would.
I think
still
more
wanna
stuck in
be.
the 90s with the Stone Temple Pilots poster in the background.
Was there a Stone Temple Pilots poster?
Yes,
I
there
mean, there was so
was.
much on the
There was
wall.
a lot.
There was just like a lot in that room.
I could so relate to this guy.
I wonder why.
I have a room full of wrestling memorabilia still.
Okay.
wonder
I lived
All
at
right.
home till I was 26.
Okay, we need to go to James' house, everybody.
Do we though?
Like seeing
PTSD.
the lucha masks and the WWF tie when they were just like throwing stuff out of his
Yeah.
closet.
Sometimes, though, like if you have an abundance of that sort of stuff, I don't mind it if it's going to be worth some money later. But if not, it's just an episode of Hoarders for me.
I mean,
Sorry,
all that
Bill.
stuff. I don't know. It didn't
Is it
seem to
going to be worth some money?
Yeah. I mean, I had a bunch of people over for a birthday party I had recently, and they're like, "Oh wow, look at all this stuff." I was like, "Yeah, that shelf alone's like $1,000."
Okay.
Yeah, but like,
Oh,
but
damn.
if it was worth some money, like this guy should have been. I feel like he should have been keeping it, like displaying it in like a glass.
Yeah,
case.
my
Totally.
stuff is
Like,
all
if he-
displayed and nicely.
All of his stuff was like thrown about, kind of thing, and then like his clothes, his closet, like all of this stuff kind of felt like schlumpy and like fallen and droopy.
I mean, and we haven't mentioned yet that where was this room? It was in his parents' house.
In the
Sharing a
basement.
wall.
No, it wasn't
no.
even to the basement yet.
No, it was the room next
That was
door,
the
right?
upgrade.
They hear each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
They
upgrade
had
was
to-
moving to the parents' basement, and that's a whole other thing we're going to talk
Baby
to later.
steps, okay?
Yeah.
Sorry. Jumping ahead.
So who was it? The first guy who like was it Tan who confronted his fashion?
It was Tan who confronted his fashion because he still had all of his fat clothes.
Yeah, the fat clothes, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm a double XL," and they were like, "No, you're not. You need to like find some right fitting clothes." And the jeans that he was wearing, there was so much denim going on. Not only because he
There's a
like
lot of
wore denim on denim,
Canadian
but like
tuxedo.
it wasn't even like Canadian tuxedo. It was like the dad jean. You
Is
know?
that what it is? Is
Is
that
there
a
a double
thing?
denim, like the
I
denim
know,
shirt,
it
the
doesn't-
denim jacket, the
But
denim
is that
pants?
like Canadian thing?
That I've heard someone call it that once. I just thought it was
It's
great.
an incredible term I will be using from now on.
Canadian tuxedo.
So good. So
See,
good.
I love a good Canadian tuxedo, but this guy just had like dad jean moment.
I love good shade. That's shade right there.
That's
That's
a
shade
good
from a
shade.
straight man.
It seems
Yeah,
it
straight
seems to be
shade.
a thing.
Straight shade.
Like people that lose weight just hold on to those clothes because they're in fear. Like, oh, if I ever gain it back, I don't want to have to like go have to buy all new big
See,
clothes again.
Yeah, and I have all my skinny clothes, so I'm like, I'm gonna fit in that 28 again, y'all. It was from second grade, but I
28.
can do it.
Girl, I've been holding on to a Diesel shirt for like 8 years now.
Can I know? I'm
You
like,
think I'm joking?
I really hope
It's
that's a
green,
pro
it's a
wrestler
V-neck.
Diesel. No.
I
My
buy
boobs
diesel
look
shirts
amazing
just
in
to
it.
throw them away.
I was once little.
so maybe it's a lesson for all of us that whether we are wearing clothes too big for us or too small, maybe we just need to get rid of them, and then we can buy when I'm
We need to go on Joe's
a
diet.
size 4. Yeah, I can buy something new. Maybe that's the lesson in this.
Well, what is his diet? Because
didn't
Antoni
say.
never cooked really for him in this
Anthony didn't
episode.
do anything.
Anything
what
to
did
do
he
in this
do?
episode.
He went and ate food with him and his brother, and
He
his
did-
brother
like, they
cooked a
didn't do
nice little meal
anything.
for them.
Oh my god, you're right.
And Antoni talked about setting up a bar for him, and like how he wanted to bring cocktails over and have people, and we
I
never
wonder if
saw
all that's
that.
on the cutting room floor.
Maybe
Because
we,
he did have a little kitchen thing in the
Kitchen
basement.
area.
He had a kitchen
Yeah.
the
net.
knife. I saw the knife.
we saw.
Yeah, then when
yeah,
he's
we saw
walking out,
that.
Karamo's like, "What
like
is
here's
this?"
a knife,
Puts
and then
it
like
down.
sticks it. Yeah.
This has to be. I feel like this probably was my favorite Jonathan Van Ness episode.
Is
Oh,
it because
he
he
was
twerked
really-
on the bed?
That was pretty funny.
That was pretty freaking funny when he was on the bed. I mean, yeah,
And at the photo shoot, he's like, "I can't be like you, Karamo."
I know.
Well, and I think it was like Jonathan was so featured in this episode because a lot of what this episode was about like finding
Confidence.
finding confidence, and he was in his like brother's shadow a little bit. And whenever you're a stand-up comedian, like so much is about confidence and just like owning what you're serving.
yeah.
And so Jonathan is like the trademark confident, own what you serve guy
Oh,
on
yeah.
this Queer Eye panel. So he was very much integrated in like everything, which I love.
Yeah, I think he even said that at one point. Like, you need to own how I own it, but as a straight man. That's what you need to do.
The straight version.
And I
of
feel
how
like
you own it.
Karamo did a lot this episode, and I feel like he doesn't usually contribute a lot. Like, you know what I mean?
But he did a lot this episode.
But he
yeah.
really did. The website,
The
like,
branding thing was perfect.
that was legit.
We
And I
got
was
some news about that
really-
website
I was
too.
really feeling that satin bomber jacket. Karamo, hook me up with those, boo.
yeah.
Yeah, his jackets are always.
So sick. I'm
Yeah.
wearing a bomber jacket now that I've been wearing for
I
6
have
months.
his stylist name
I don't got
because
that
he
Queer Eye
tweeted
money.
it. Tweeted it once, but he has a stylist who does like. But I saw someone on Twitter throughout the week. I saw tweeted him that they liked his bomber jacket, and he said, "Send me your address, I'll give it to you."
Oh my god.
He's so sweet.
Because was
Yes,
it him or was it Tan who gave the? Why am I blanking on his name?
Joe?
Joe, average Joe. See, I need
Hello, average Joe, that is.
I've been calling him. We just got red, y'all, for like not remembering a character's name last week, the mom's name last week. So the fact that I'm forgetting Joe's name,
Wow.
Joe. Oh my god.
Well, our
But
panel's
who
going
was
to be
it?
3 people next week,
It
everybody.
really is though because I'm going to be gone the next few weeks. Bye, y'all. But was it Tan or was it Karamo who gave the bomber jacket whenever he was styling? It was Tan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which
the
that's,
one he ends up wearing in the end, but we're not going to give it away. Right now. We're not going to give it away. The
Oh.
ending
Well,
of the
when
Stop jumping ahead.
When Tan asked him, like, "Do you feel cool?" It's
Yeah.
something so simple. Like, "Do you feel cool when you look in the mirror?" Like, "Do you feel cool?" He's like, "No, I've never felt cool."
Which I love that. Not everybody feels cool.
No.
Cool isn't everything.
But I think also too, it's like there's a difference of. I mean, come on, we live in LA and we work at AfterBuzz. I've been on many comic book shows, so I'm around people that like own their nerddom. And it seems like this guy kind of wanted to own that.
Redefine cool.
But it's like he needed to like take almost, if he's going to do that, take back the nerd. Because Kevin Smith is really cool and a huge nerd. So, and I know Dave Child here at AfterBuzz, huge nerd.
Mr. Dave Child.
I'm Dave Child. You find me? I'm Dave Child. But Dave Child to me is really cool. And so, or Nate Clark. Nate Clark is really cute. And so these are like nerdy people that own it. And so I think that he could own that. Own like whoever
It's
you are.
just about owning it in general.
Yeah. By the way, every time we say own it, take a drink.
Own it.
Own it.
Yeah.
Own it.
Oh no.
It's also a Housewives reference, which applies to me.
Oh
so.
yeah.
Oh, which
Own it.
So
Lisa
then
Rinna.
they decide like, oh, your upgrade. We're just gonna move you to the basement.
Yes.
because
Yeah,
you
that
have
was
your
Bobby's
own
thing.
entrance to the house,
But I
and
don't
you're
know
not
why-
sharing a room,
A sex
like, wall,
sex wall
to
with your
wall
parents.
That was the goal. Was
And
to
I don't know why Joe didn't consider
set
that
him up.
before, right? Like, why didn't he consider moving to the? Maybe because like parents' basement is such like a comedic.
Well, you're
Yeah, I was
still
just gonna
there.
say that's
You're
the
still
next
there.
step.
It
Like,
was
oh, I live
like-
in my parents' basement. Like, check that box.
Yeah, like that's the next step to being like that's a comedic trope. Is like
Well, the
I don't
next
want to
step
live
should
in
be
my
moving
parents'
out.
basement. It really
Well, that's
should
why I
be.
said baby steps. So
Baby
they're like,
steps,
okay, we'll move
y'all.
him to the basement, and then from the basement we'll move him out. Even
Yeah.
when they're at IKEA, Bobby tells him like, the furniture I'm picking out for you is stuff you could take with you.
This is so
That
first
relates
level. This is so first
anywhere
level.
else.
Not even baby steps. It's like baby crawl. Because also too, it's I mean, if he's never going to move
comes
out of
the
his
therapist.
parents.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's
Where's the
no. Here
therapist?
comes the. I did stand-up comedy for years, and girl, you're not going to move out of your
Thank
basement.
you. That's what I was
while
saying.
that's your main
Matt
job.
got it. Matt got it.
You
got
know
it.
what I mean? Like you're going to stay in your parents'
Thank you.
basement
That's
for a
exactly
while,
what I'm
unless
saying.
like you
Like,
are the
he is
1%.
never
His
gonna get
brother said he was a comedian also, but his brother obviously was working as a chef. Because he had them over to cook for them.
Exactly.
So it's like,
Exactly.
okay, your brother realizes like this is my job and then this is my hustle. And when my
Exactly.
hustle can pay
The
the
Queer Eye
bills,
people
then
were
I'll
like,
no
"Oh, you're
longer
a
need my
comedian?"
job.
And maybe he has a
Let's go to the
hustle.
room downstairs. Let's do the room downstairs.
Maybe he has a hustle and we didn't see it because we sure didn't see his girlfriend that popped up at the end of that episode.
I know he was keeping on, which made me think whenever she popped up at the end, like during the whole episode, I feel like Joe was very like held back and a little bit withdrawn, and I think that maybe he was like holding a few more things back than than just the girlfriend.
I
or
wasn't
girl
surprised about the girlfriend thing because he's not
like
he's a cute nerd. Like when you see, I mean, at the end when you cleaned him up and everything,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Hosed him off.
completely unfortunate, you know?
It wasn't a complete tragedy.
He wasn't a complete tragedy. Someone else who is not a complete tragedy, who is actually a complete success, I think, pretty much at AfterBuzz, is Maria Menounos. And as a fan of Maria's books, I know how much you can learn from her. That's a goal for her, and I love that. And it's nice to have a free weekly podcast that everyone can learn from. The Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast covers so many topics and gives so many life lessons and tips to help you be your best you. And I love listening to it. So I love Maria's celebrity interviews. She always has new things going on. And honestly, as a host who's like, you know, we're all trying to do this and pursue our dreams. It is, and some of us are doing stand-up comedy in our basement, parents' basement. It's great to have Maria's podcast for all our career lessons as well because, well, Joe needs it. Joe, you need to listen to this
Joe,
podcast.
if you're listening, listen to Maria.
Yeah, Joe, you need to listen to Conversations with Maria Menounos. You can get that on wherever you listen to podcasts, to iTunes, Stitcher, whatever, for free.
It's for free, y'all.
Oh, free. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, let's dig into the makeover on this, okay? So, where do we start? Well, first of all, let's just start with, I guess, like the whole beard situation.
There seems to always be a beard situation going
Yeah.
on with these guys,
Yeah.
like facial hair situation.
It's very in right now.
And Jonathan,
Is it-
I mean, Exhibit A over here. to
James,
my
is it a
right,
big?
James.
Is it a big? And I asked this. I'm going to be transparent.
Okay.
After watching the royal wedding, I'm really considering growing a ginger beard because 4 people told me to do it, but I don't know how I feel about it.
Matt,
so,
no.
beard, like, is it important to you? Like, it because they just shaved his off. Would that freak you out? Or
Well, having no hair on my head, I like to have a beard because at least then I have some hair. But I don't like a gnarly beard like he had, like kind of a mountain man beard,
was
which
bushy.
seems to be a thing now. Like, oh, the hipster beard or like the hipster mustache.
those have E. coli in them?
Keep it close.
Even the bushy
to the
beards
skin.
have to be like trim though, you know?
Trim
Well, that
edge.
happened in a previous episode
Yeah,
where they
there's got to be
they
some,
kept it
It's
nice.
got to have some symmetry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
like
And
what's his
Matt's
name?
right. You gotta have a beard wash too, because I don't like, there's some smells in there.
You know, I wish that like Jonathan had asked Joe about like his beard care, because like a lot of different kinds of people watch this show. So if you have a beard and you're like, you have E. coli in your beard, I would be curious how to care for
That's a
it.
thing.
plenty of beard
That is
washes.
a thing that you're actually saying.
No, it is if they've tested like people have E. coli in your beard. And especially like I get grossed out when I see
'cause
like
they
gay
have
guys
romaine
with big
lettuce.
beards, because I'm like, we do stuff there. I'm like, you need to trim that and wash that.
Matt
I'm
just
not
took
doing
it there.
Stuff
No.
happens between the nose and the chin that you don't want
The
to
more you
happen.
know.
But for straight people though too, I've literally read there's E. coli. I mean, there's E. coli everywhere.
There
But
really
you go to the
is.
bathroom. What do people do that have beards? They stroke their beard. So they go to the bathroom. They think they wash up. They don't
Alright.
do
Wash
well.
your hands.
They're stroking their beard, and now.
There's E.
There's
coli
poop
all
in
up
your
in
beard.
there. There's poopy beard.
Well,
So that's what I saw when I thought of Joe. I was like, gross. Let's get that off.
Maybe that's why Jonathan shaves every single beard he sees.
Maybe.
Because
But-
Jonathan has perfect hair.
He does
He's
have
like-
perfect hair. But it made a huge difference, I thought, just by them really too. He kind of had this like 90s dad hair, like with the
Yeah.
it's all so much on the sides.
Uh-huh.
And they
On
got
the
rid of
top.
that. And I mean, he was much more handsome.
He really was. I kind of almost wish they would have shown Joe with the mustache, because remember when Jonathan was
Oh,
like looking
yeah.
with the handlebar
I was
mustache?
kind of into it.
I was into it too, and I feel like that goes with his brand, because Joe, I think, looks at himself as kind of a quirky, to the left, out of the mainstream type of guy. And so if you go like full on type A attractive, I feel like Joe feels a little bit out of his element. So if you give him something that gives him kind of a goofy, goofy look, then maybe
Something
he
that other
feels-
people are like, look at this nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, look at that mustache. And then he's like, hi, guys, I'm a comedian. You're like, oh, that
Oh, I
makes
see
sense.
it now.
You wear that
because-
mustache.
Because that's just funny. What's on your face? I would have loved that.
It was interesting on this. This was a different. I felt like it skewed a different type of format for the show. First of all, it's the first episode I didn't cry on.
Really?
Success.
Me too.
I teared up at the end when he gets the girl.
Really?
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like crying like the previous episodes where you're like,
I
oh,
was
man,
screaming
this
when
is
that
good. But I was
happened.
just like, oh, I teared up. Oh,
I'm
like,
so
oh,
glad
he
y'all
got
are
the
here,
girl.
because last week y'all talked about crying, and Charles just shamed me because Charles is dead inside.
I am a little bit dead inside, y'all. I am a little
So
dead.
I'm proud I have some criers here.
I'm a crier. I am a crier. I'm just not a crier at this kind of thing.
It's
I get
true.
emotional.
But this one was, I guess, but it was different format to me in that we really kind of, like we said, like you were saying, we get the Antoni does food, we get Bobby's doing design, we get
Antoni.
Anthony.
That's how I remember it, though.
Antoni.
I have an Aunt Tony, so that's how I remember his name. I was like, Anthony. It's all just say it fast.
Antoni. Haven't I been good? Okay. Haven't I been good about not like being thirsty for Antoni in these past few episodes?
No.
Until now.
Okay. Good.
No. No, I almost tagged you in something just the other day. He was like shirtless and looked really hot.
I probably already saw.
Still
I
it.
figured-
thirsty, bro.
yeah.
I'm still thirsty. I'm
Yeah.
dehydrated.
Anthony did nothing except wore really tight shirts this episode.
He did.
And smell
I love
Joe's
that part.
armpit.
Yes,
Yeah.
that made me think of you because literally.
such a
Did you
smeller.
see that? Yeah, they're in IKEA,
Oh,
and Joe's
God.
they're like laying on a bed, and Joe says, "Oh, I'm so glad I wore." Do you not see this, James? When he said, "I'm so
Was
glad
that
I
the
wore
awful
deodorant."
when they were like, hey, it's a sofa bed. Look, it unfolds and it's a bed. I'm like, if you live in your parents' basement and you have a sofa bed and you bring a girl back, you're done.
It was
You're
Yeah.
done.
It was a
You need to
horrible.
pull it out.
Like, hold
like
on, let me
before-
pull out the
Oh,
bed for
God.
us.
It looked like a fort, like when
Yeah.
you just put your cushions and your for friends to stay
so
the night.
bad.
Elementary, it was
That's-
not good. But yeah,
But-
that's when Anthony smelled his armpit
Smelled the
again.
armpit.
I don't know.
Every
Everything
episode.
was very first level, and when I was saying that, Matt got it because I don't. Even like me, I'm not that far off age that he is, and I'm Lex Neville. Like I didn't. I moved on from the dorm IKEA furniture. You know what I mean? I moved out, so I feel like they should have pushed him a little bit harder because love is sometimes pushing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I feel like they kind of
you were
enabled
like,
him.
don't coddle him and give him baby
They
steps to the
enabled
basement.
him.
You're
It was-
like, no, get the hell out of your
They're
parents'
like,
house.
oh, he's a stand-up comedian. Oh, let's
They
make
handle
a
it with kid
room.
gloves. They say.
Let's
Wait.
make a room downstairs. He ain't never gonna get out.
Okay. One of
That's
my
kinda, yeah.
Okay, speaking I don't know baby him, I don't know, but like whenever you said baby him, it made me think of the segment whenever they brought him into the lodge, like with all of those old people.
Oh, the American Legion Hall to do comedy.
Let's dig into this. This was Karamo's.
If you can make it in here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
Like
What kind of club is that?
That was
An
like
American Legion Hall is, I know these because a lot of pro wrestling shows I film are done there. So it's basically
There's your answer. You don't have to
like
say any
a
more.
veterans hangout club that they just get to hang out there, drink, and you can
But-
still smoke indoors.
But it's like
Yeah.
also that people have money, right?
What do you mean?
No.
No,
Okay.
No.
Am I thinking of
It's
something
not like
different?
a yacht club or something.
We had
No.
my 10-year high school reunion at ours in Lone Grove, Oklahoma, and it's
Yeah.
rough.
where
American Post number
yeah, it's-
308 in Reseda,
yeah, it's
California.
like people talk about
where I
war
go.
Oh,
days.
you know what? I was confusing just like historical with financial
No.
status.
No.
Just
No.
because I recently was. It's off topic. Yeah, but just the Hollywood Legion Club.
Oh,
So that's what I was like,
that's
who goes
not-
in there?
no.
Because they were like, this is where Charlie Chaplin sat, and I'm like,
no,
oh.
these are.
no.
This is like veterans.
Yeah,
People
you
with
know,
it's,
three
yeah,
teeth.
it's
Got
It's
it.
basically like a hangout,
hangout, like a
club
clubhouse.
for veterans.
The clubhouse.
Yeah,
For vets.
and they serve drinks, and you could smoke indoors still, and yeah.
Well, anywhere we
they
can
normally
smoke
don't
indoors.
have entertainment like that.
because I wondered too, like how they were doing that, and then
they were all,
they were all
thrown
so.
off.
It was Jonathan. They were all like, I'm like, wow, they were like in the South being really, really gay.
Well,
in
and
this
Jonathan
club.
was being like the most gay I've ever seen.
Yeah,
seen.
he
was.
was.
Wearing, like,
He
full
was.
kilt. He was
That
wearing
old
like the
lady.
off the
I love
shoulder
your shirt.
blouse.
Oh, do you?
I'm
He was wearing a
surprised he
blouse.
wasn't doing cartwheels.
He was
through the
wearing a
Legion Club.
legit blouse.
He was
Yeah,
in a
it had like
blouse.
the cuts on the
It was
shoulders.
so. It was
He was in a
so like
blouse.
Forever
Said
21.
legit blouse.
And this was
Kato
the one.
Petite.
This was the one segment, like Lian, that I feel like they weren't babying Joe, is because they
I agree.
literally pushed him in the spotlight in front of the most like
That's
brutal
not that big of a
audience.
deal. Oh, you want to be a comedian? Go on stage.
I know, but
Go on
like,
No,
stage.
but
You
as
want
a-
to be a singer? Sing for me.
But as
But
a,
sing for me in front of like a fountain of people that are just hanging out having lunch.
Yeah,
They're
that's
gonna
what
be
you're
like,
supposed
"What
to
the
do."
hell is going on right now?"
like do comedy in front of three men who have seen war. Okay.
Yeah. And if you can make them laugh, you're funny.
but well, because also too, if you do stand again, I have done stand-up comedy literally in a 7-Eleven
Exactly.
before.
I've seen
and
on
it
the
was
subway,
and
please.
it was wretched because so I'm agreeing with both of you because it was terrible because nobody's expecting seeing comedy in a 7-Eleven. So they're not prime, they're not like
Yeah.
comically lubed up.
They're not
But
right.
if
Yes.
you're good,
But if you're good, maybe. But however, like
I put on shows at 7-Eleven, baby. Okay, I put on shows
know?
everywhere.
But
Dim the
like when
lights.
you've done other places that like I've done a show at Cobra down the street, which is a bar.
We
that's
heard
not-
about that one.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
But you know, at a comedy club, people are more lubed up to laugh,
But
and these people
stop
weren't.
saying
When you were
lubed
doing
up.
comedy at 7-Eleven, were you playing to your audience
was
like,
lubed
man,
up.
Slurpees, right? Instead of like he's doing his shtick that he would do in front of
He made a
nerds at the
bulimia
comic
baby
stop,
joke.
And I-
comic shop.
I kind of did
instead
that
of-
too. I should have
Instead
like.
of playing to his audience like, oh, everyone in here can still smoke, huh?
Like,
Yeah, but it
oh,
Is
wasn't
that
like he
empty
just-
seat over there
One
for
It wasn't
like he just
Jeff?
randomly
Or,
got
like,
up.
You know, like
one leg, am I right?
Yeah.
You
But
right there.
let
Oh,
everybody
no.
know,
You know?
it's not like he just randomly got
how
up there
many
and started
teeth are
doing
in your
comedy.
family? Like,
They said, we have an act for you guys.
They
He's a
prefaced it, they
comedian.
prefaced it.
I'm sure you guys are aware there's
But
cameras
it was
around
so
you.
But they
funny
said they
when-
loved him at the end.
well, yeah, they walk up to this old lady. What did you think? She's like, I thought you were hilarious. It's
I
like,
don't
well,
buy
why
it.
weren't you laughing?
Yeah, nobody.
That's
no
how
one was
I
laughing.
laugh.
And there was one guy who was like,
This
"You
is
suck."
a laughing face.
I loved that guy. I love the guy who said you sucked because he was like
And he-
brutally honest.
he's
And
like,
like, how is
Jonathan's face. He's like, oh my
Jonathan
god.
was like, "Oh my god, so rude," and I was like, "Jonathan, he's being honest. Like, what do you expect? If everybody
Jonathan, oh my
tells,
God, he's being so rude.
if everybody tells Joe like he's an amazing comedian when really like his delivery was not on point. Like, let's be honest, during that that little set, like his timing was okay, the jokes were okay, but his delivery wasn't there. Am I alone here?
No, because
No, and
the
they-
bulimic joke was funny. Like, oh,
You're
when I asked the
alone,
baby,
but we know
what's
what
your
you're talking
secret?
about.
And then the
Always
baby threw
alone.
up. Ah, bulimia.
Yeah.
Like, that was a funny joke.
was
I
funny if
laughed,
you
but
would've
Yeah, I did
delivered it
too.
right.
he didn't
I
have it.
laughed at one of them. The one that everyone was like, that was cute. I think I laughed at that one.
Was it that?
Oh,
I think it was the bulimia
Yeah,
one.
No, was it like how do you pick up girls?
The one where Jonathan
That was
was like,
funny.
that was kind of cute.
I did, but well, I think they gave him good feedback when Karamo was like, "You need to," and I get this too.
contact.
You'll see really funny stand-up comedians that are really smart and really can be intellectual, kind of like this guy, because I think he is more of an intellect, but. They are like looking down on the ground. They're not even kind of connecting with your audience, and that
Like a Mitch Hedberg. Do you know who that is?
No, but I'm gonna say yes.
He would do comedy, and he would just go sit on the stool in the back of the stage and just not even look at the crowd.
Yeah,
and he would
that
just do
works
his
for
jokes.
him.
Yeah, but like that was his
But
shtick,
that's
and
like,
people
you
at
gotta
first
be-
were like, "What the hell is this guy?" But he was so funny that they're like, "That's just him. He's awkward."
You just got to
in-
go
in
do
places.
that, then
That's what he
commit.
does.
Whereas
That's the thing,
Joe
is
is
committing
not-
to your bit
it's commit,
and
yeah.
owning it, and like I don't care.
Well, committing is one thing, honey, but I'm just telling you, at the end result, like it's just if you're good, you're good.
that is true. If you are, because I just when you first do, you're like, oh well, the audience just wasn't ready, or like one time, like I went to primarily like African American club, and I'm like the white guy, and I'm like, well, they
You
just
can make that work
just
to your
get it.
advantage.
And then the more and more I did comedy, I would see comedians that. I don't care if it was in Oklahoma City in front of a bunch of white people, or in frickin' in Canada or in like Brazil, they would make it work. And like once you see, Whitney Cummings was one of those comedians that I saw, and when you see that, you're like, wow. So
They
But-
stay flexible.
So
But
he
it's
jokes
not
about
What he
just
needs to do
about.
is comedy reps, is what we're saying.
No.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
want it to be like, oh, if
Lian's
you're good,
gonna be
you're
your
good. If you're
manager,
good, you're
Joe.
good. I understand if you're good, you're good. I get it. But you have to know your audience. Like there's
Yeah.
levels.
Like you said, 7-Eleven, you
There's
should've known.
levels. There's rules to the craft, and like knowing your craft is the ins and out. That would be one of the things, like knowing your audience. Like, don't go into the Legion Club and like make jokes about smoking inside or whatever you're going to try to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like if he would have known his crowd better, maybe he could have made fun of the fact that they were like in that dark, fluorescent
Or like,
lit
hey,
room.
yeah,
smoking.
how do you guys feel? The one straight guy just walked in. We were 3 gay dudes. Like
Yeah.
that sounds like any bar joke I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that is a part. You should do stand-up comedy, James. No. No.
Well,
Something
but-
Karamo said in this episode I really liked was, I think it was after the haircut and all that. He's like, look in the mirror. Do you feel masculine? Do you feel sexy? Do you feel strong? Like, think about that. And I just was like, oh yeah. Like something you should say to yourself every time you look in the mirror
They
before you leave.
really were big on affirmation. And Jonathan was like, oh, when Jonathan started hugging him and then he lifted up Jonathan.
And he just,
Karamo's
like,
face was
leg
like,
wrapped around
oh.
him.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Jesse Janity here, whenever I'd hug him, he does that to me all the time.
Nice.
I want to see that.
I want to meet this guy.
I want to see a lot
Is
of
it
that.
DJ Jesse?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do know him.
I did enjoy. So they did the comedy.
I don't know her.
And then they surprised him
Mariah,
with a
anybody?
photo shoot.
Yes.
Which,
great.
and we alluded to this because it was pretty great. I mean, Karamo's like, Karamo's freaking beautiful. So
He
when he's a
is.
model, Jonathan's like, what do you do? And he's like, I just relax my face. And I'm like,
And Jonathan's like pursing his lips
I'm like,
still.
bitch, I have to do so much more with my face just so I don't look like I'm
Jonathan's like
inbred.
hair everywhere, fan, lips.
I know.
Yeah, whereas I'm
How-
like, don't open my eyes too much. Smile this, but not too much. Then you look up, then you look old. Where Karamo's just like, I just stand there.
Yeah, that must be nice.
Must
And then
be
they're trying to
nice.
take photos, and he's directing them, and then the photographer walks in front of them. He's
Oh
like,
my God, that
they're
was
not
so
here.
They're not here."
Look at me. Focus on me."
Antoni's like, work it, and Jonathan's like, eyes, and Karamo's like, relax, and then the
It was a
photographer's
lot.
like, it's just you and me.
Yeah, it's
and
just
Joe's
us.
like, ugh, like freaking out.
But the
I want
photos-
one of these.
The
No, I want
photos
one of
turned out
these.
really well. I mean,
I thought they looked
were
great.
air touched a bit.
a
yeah.
little bit.
But they
A little
look.
bit of
They got
phase
rid of the
two.
zit.
They needed to be air touched.
But they look really.
Photoshopped. Why did
Photoshopped.
you say
Air
I said air touched.
Airbrushed and retouched.
They got me speaking country.
That's going to
over
be
here,
a new
guys.
thing.
And my photographs, we do air touching.
Can I
Yeah.
get the air touching?
Well, and they
You know what it means? It's I think what is it? It's Six Flags when they paint your
Oh,
picture
yeah.
with the air paint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
airbrush.
So it's
Well,
it's
they-
airbrushy.
and
oh.
they use that
Ding,
they use
ding,
that
ding,
photo
ding,
shoot.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, they use that photo shoot, I think, to like get in touch with Joe's brand. Like that was the first moment they were like below average Joe, where it was like get into that self-deprecating mood, right?
Yes.
And like
Well, they needed to market him.
yeah, exactly. And like they
Yes.
needed to get those photos on the website too.
They
and, like,
hashtag air touch.
Yeah,
Yes.
and hashtag air touched. And they were even like, okay, Joe, like do some poses for like that make you feel like you're self-deprecating, like what encapsulates your brand. And he was like, oh, I don't really know.
That's a good thing though, because a lot of I mean,
Yeah, it's
hello, we
true.
see people here that come in that are really talented, and I'm okay at it. But it is part of like if you're gonna do this business, you need to know what you're selling, sugars.
yeah.
And it's actually not easy to look self-deprecating on camera and be marketable at the same time. So I feel like he actually did that towards the end, so I give him some kudos.
Speaking of marketing and brand, by the way, if you like this AfterBuzz podcast, one of the best ways you can support us is to leave a little review on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen to this podcast. Please give us 5 stars.
I love me some 5 stars.
If you don't, Lian will find you.
I will.
She will.
Hashtag air touched.
Reach out and air touch someone.
Reach out. Also, if you're listening on the YouTube or watching on the YouTube channel, then hit that little like button and subscribe to this channel so that way you get, because we have one more episode of Queer Eye, but we're in the works of potentially trying to maybe get some special interviews over the summer in between season 1 and 2. So the only way y'all are going to know, sugars, is if you subscribe.
They are all interested.
We are all interested. So
The DMs are full.
DMs
Something
are
that
full.
I found interesting in this episode. So they wrap up, they go back to the place. We see the apartment. They all get into bed together. And then Jonathan says,
That's what you're
there are
interested
too
in?
many heteros at the barber shop in my face
yeah.
to say this. And they start to like dive into like the emotional part of the episode, I guess, the take home. Like, where do we go from here for us? And I was just thinking like, oh, wow. Did he feel so uncomfortable like being in that bro barber shop that he couldn't open up with Joe there? Did anybody else?
Maybe he felt like Joe was in front of too many heterosexuals to open up. Like maybe Joe was a little bit withdrawn because I don't know if Jonathan wore a blouse to the American Legion Club. I don't think he's like afraid.
I think it might be that. I think it might be, a lot of straight guys don't want to open up, especially around other straight guys.
Yeah. So
And that's a generalization, but I mean, especially in the South.
Yeah, but that is interesting because you're right. Like he didn't get into that like at the barbershop, and like this episode, Joe was like the most reserved. Even Jonathan said he was flat. I feel like Joe was the most reserved.
The editors
person
had to do a
I've
lot
ever
of work on
seen.
this episode.
No, well, he is. He's a shy person. Like, the fact that he wants to be a comedian, that's the irony in it all. That's, like, the reason he wants to be a comedian, because he's like, everyone's going to be like, you're such a shy, quiet person. Why do you want to be a comedian? So I think that's the joke in it all. So the fact that he didn't want to do anything like that doesn't really surprise me. He seems really closed off and introverted.
But he seemed to do well at his show. He did his show.
No, yeah,
he
they
dressed
did do
himself.
well.
He had that fly red bomber
Totally.
jacket. Even one of the people came up to him and said, "You had eye contact. You were engaged."
Yeah.
It seemed like he really kind of won the day.
But he's not going to be like that all the time is what I'm trying to say.
No.
Like, you go out and you're a shy person, but like, you see me on the dance floor, like, I let it out last night. You're not going to do that every night, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like, well, you should. You should, and Joe should. You really should.
But when you do it enough that you have that confidence, when you walk in a room, you don't need to be on the dance floor. People know, like, oh, this guy, he gets
Yeah.
it.
Your life is a
Exactly.
dance
Yeah,
floor,
like-
baby. My whole life is
Yeah.
a
The
dance
Whole
floor.
life.
Yeah, so I feel like it goes back to just confidence
Yeah.
and swag. And
That was my what do we gay from here? Do we want to get into that?
Well, let's see his can we see his transformation picture? I think we have a picture.
Come on, transformation.
Of what he looked like before. That's one of his
Oh,
pensive shots. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, really, maybe he has. Oh wait, no, that was the beginning.
He looks
The
good
pimples in
both. Like from right there, he looks
that's
good
the
both.
pimple. Okay,
and
I
it
totally
was
see
better
it
when
now.
they got rid of the
I
gl-
never noticed it before.
James, you were looking at me like I was a horrible monster.
No,
I'm
Dude,
like,
he's in my
head,
it
I'm
was
thinking,
so
like, wait,
big.
Like, where was it? Where was it?
He was looking at me
was
like,
right
you're
there.
so mean. And I'm like, what are you?
No, I was trying to
It's
vision
so
it in my
big.
head.
I
Why
couldn't
didn't
ignore
Jonathan
it.
address that?
It was
No.
great too when they took off the glasses. I'm glad they did the contacts. He has cute eyes.
Why
he has
didn't you put
handsome
the green
eyes.
stick on him?
You're like obsessed with green stick.
I'm obsessed with the green stick.
Yeah,
Is
you
the
need to
green
get a
stick
green-
what?
In the very early
Somebody
episode.
put some
Oh,
green
got
stick
the
on
red
my
away?
life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the very
with,
first
um,
episode.
the one that got married. The
And,
Abby.
oh my god.
Oh, didn't they get a divorce
Yeah, we
though?
don't. No, they just got
They
married
got
like
married
last week.
again.
Again?
You know how we announced that they broke up? They're
Yeah.
back together now.
They got full on married.
snap.
We dropped it on last week's episode. Everybody
snap.
was hot. Okay, so now
I think he looks way better.
Oh yeah, way
Okay.
better.
You
Good
don't
hair.
think so?
looks
Listen,
younger.
I think he looks good in both. Maybe because
You're
of
crazy.
the angle. Like, I'm kind of into the beard. It makes him look like, I don't know, maybe because I'm into 90s dads.
we're gonna disagree with Charles.
I
Stanley
think
on
the
that.
beard the beard and the hair makes him look way older than he is.
Like he looks
Yeah.
like a Baptist minister on the left.
Do you know what it looks like? It
Right?
looks like it looks
Boy,
like
I'm
two
gonna
guys.
teach you about Jesus.
It looks like two guys who work at the same high school. The one on the left is the IT guy, and the one on the right is a kind of cool history teacher.
Oh, you
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
see that totally.
Now I want to learn about history.
But where's the part where he looks good in the before?
The jawline, I think, looks square. His hair is kind of coiffed.
Well, let's look at another picture. Let's see if he's going to keep it up, because apparently he is on the Twitters, right?
Okay, see, I can deal with the picture on the right. Like, he's giving me angles, he's giving me face, he's giving me DILF.
So if you're listening on the podcast, they're showing his original picture with short hair, but now apparently he's let his hair kind of grow out on the top, not on the sides, but on the top a little bit.
How many followers does he have?
And it's like
1,200 likes on that page.
I don't know. He's got a lot.
Good for you, bro.
And we're going to talk about the website when we get to some news. But let's talk about where do we go from here on this one? What do y'all think?
My where do we
James,
go
go
from here
ahead.
was
James,
definitely confidence and eye contact, for sure.
Confidence
Like,
and-
that makes the world of difference, and
Really
just
does.
owning what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only what you do. Charles Connolly, where do you go from here?
I think my where do we go from here is knowing your own brand. And knowing, like, not even knowing your own brand, you don't have to get too business about it, just like knowing who you are and what you bring to the party. Because once you know your own self and what you're serving, then you have the ability to, like, be flexible in those situations where maybe it's not too tailored for you. Like, Jonathan Van Ness knows who the hell he is.
She does.
Which is why she was so confident going into the American Legion bar, like, wearing a blouse, is because Jonathan knows who he is.
Yeah.
And he knows, not everybody's going to like me, but this is what I'm serving. So I'm going to serve it all the time. So that's my where do we get from here.
Lian Castillo, where do you go from here?
I think always just aim higher.
Level up.
I think you are better than your parents' basement, Bilbo.
So like a Super Mario, eat the mushroom and level up right now. Yeah, X button. Yeah, Steve.
Aim higher than
sorry.
the basement at least, right?
Just get out of the basement. Go have some sex
Well,
with
there's
that
only
girl.
like up from the bottom, right? So like the basement is the absolute bottom, so all he can go is up.
Starting from the
goes.
bottom, now we're here.
The
Yeah.
Queer Eye panel was like, we're going to take him all the way to the bottom so that regardless of what happens, he's going to go up. He's going to
gonna
go
go
up and
up.
be on the
He's
rise.
gonna
Started
go
from the
up.
bottom, now I have 12,000 likes.
Yeah, now I have 12,000 likes. So, okay, so
1,200.
let's talk a little bit about some AfterBuzz news.
Hello, where's your where do we get from here?
You know, Liam made me laugh. I don't need a gay from here. It took my gay from here. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I read a little bit. Apparently, there was some scandal with Joe.
A scandal?
Because, so Karamo made him a website. Well, apparently, Karamo, talked about this in an interview. A week after the show aired, he took the website down. And so people were tweeting him.
Karamo took it down?
No,
Joe
took it down. And people were tweeting him like, what's wrong? Why did you take your website down? And he was kind of dead silent for a while. Well, come to find out, he said that, at least he tweeted about it, he said, I didn't mean to take the website down. It was taken down because when they tried to switch over the payment or whoever set up to him, they didn't set it up right, and then GoDaddy will pull that crap if you don't pay GoDaddy.
You gotta pay daddy.
He gotta pay daddy.
Hey, daddy.
So as of today, when I checked, I still did not see that his website was up. So
Still hasn't paid daddy.
because you know why? Because you need to aim higher. That's my where do we go from here. I'm with Lian. He's got to aim probably
Higher.
because his dad is the one who takes care of his website bills, and he needs to aim higher and get his
I wonder if his brother has a website.
together.
Was that out of line?
His brother buys the average Joe website. It's like the Gallagher brothers. They're just
Markets
feuding and
himself.
hating each other. Yeah.
Hijacks
It's not a
his
bad
website.
idea.
He's just like, I am below
gotta
average
save,
Joe's brother.
Above
Like,
average Joe.
It's not a bad idea.
AfterBuzz's predictions. Do you think?
And now, your AfterBuzz.
Do you think Joe
I'm seeing it now.
is going to succeed in stand-up comedy? What do you think?
I think if he doesn't use this opportunity to make that happen, it's never gonna happen.
So put up his freaking website.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
if they pretty much bought and built you a website and you don't hop on that right afterwards and you're not out there,
You're
when
getting free branding.
When this aired on Netflix, you weren't out like, hey guys, want to book
Promoting.
below average Joe as seen on Queer?
Not
Or is it
even they
Queer
built
Eye
you
as
a
seen on Queer
website.
Eye?
Yeah.
Like
Built
you,
your
you
website.
lost
We built
it.
you a platform.
Yeah.
And you know what he should have probably done is create a set, like a long comedy set about his experience on Queer Eye. Like, what's the inside tea on like
Yeah.
how Jonathan and like Antoni and all of them are,
Yeah.
like, and then put that like send that set out to some promoters.
Start.
And be like, hey, like I can bring some inside scoop
True.
of Queer Eye to some of your clubs,
Like,
like some of
I
your
found
gay clubs.
Antoni in my laundry basket sniffing all my socks.
All of my armpits.
Yeah.
You know he does, y'all. You
Yeah.
know it. Is that like our? Do I need to go through everybody's prediction, or is that all of our prediction? Are we in
Oh,
agreement
my
on that?
prediction is that next season is going to be full of smells and surprises. And as far as Joe,
Dot.
I-
Listen, Joe has the capability to succeed. Do I think he will succeed?
the website is really throwing me off. But you got to pay that daddy. If
You gotta pay
If
the
the website was
daddy.
up right now, I would have given you some kudos.
Yeah, GoDaddy don't. He does have quite a bit of Twitter followers. He's
I
very
thought
active
you were
on
gonna
Twitter.
say after the show, Netflix was like, "Hey, if you want this, you gotta pay us," and he was like, "I don't have that kind of money," and then they were like, "Okay, well then it's
no.
not yours."
No, it
But
literally
if they were
was
like,
$10
if
to
they
run a
went to,
website.
yeah,
Yeah,
if they
it's
went
not
to,
that
hey
much.
man, we need to carry this over, but the card connected is Karamo's card. You need to put your credit card.
Yeah,
and
first
he
of
was
all-
like, "Yeah, I didn't get that email." Like, no,
Crumb
bro.
was like, I'm
Yeah.
paying your stuff.
At first, yeah, I mean, obviously, budget for season 1 at Netflix. They're making Karamo use this card. Come on. I think they'd have an account. I don't know if they have Netflix.
Business card.
You live in that big building in Hollywood. Judge even saw. All right. So, well, hey, I think we covered the show. We've got one more episode of Queer Eye that's coming out. And I want a fan shout out. Do you think Joe's going to carry on his comedy career, Sugars? Put us in the, and you can live chat us during the episode, or you can leave some comments, and we read those, right?
Yes, we do.
I do. I read them.
Oh snap!
We read them, and we might read you. Yes. So
I like all the comments that are negative about me.
Oh, someone
well,
told me
that's
on an
all of them.
AfterBuzz thing to F off. I felt it's my first F off.
Really?
F off, I hate you on this panel, go away.
That's
Oh,
when
I
you
Was
know.
it this
made
panel?
No, it was on another panel, and then I responded and I said, "Are you asking me out?" And then he was like, "You sexually harassed me," and I'm like, "You're
Oh,
terrible."
God,
I know.
really? I
know.
can't. Let's
So
stop
anyway,
there.
let's stop there. So okay, everybody, tell everybody we have got one more episode, and we're going to be doing that next week. But Charles Conoly, tell everybody.
And
where
next
they
week's
can
episode is my favorite episode, but I won't be here because I'm going to be gone. So this is my last Queer Eye episode, y'all. My name is Charles
God.
Until next
Conley. You
season.
can find me at Charles Conley until next season. You can find me at Charles Conley on the Twitters and the Instagrams.
Great.
Follow me on Twitter at Jimbo in the Booth.
Guys, Hollywood Lian here. Hollywood Lian on everything. Instagram, Snapchat.
And Housewives is deep this year, right?
Thursday nights, 10 p.m. We're doing Real Housewives of New York City. It is
Which is-
completely ridiculous.
It's the best one, everybody says. Or
Duran is
Atlanta.
drunk, and it's just so good. It's just going after everybody.
That's one Bethany's on, right?
Yeah, Bethany's been quite the pit bull lately.
I do
so
love
check
her.
in,
I
please.
still like
Thursday
her.
nights. Download me on Apple iTunes, please.
Yes, watch that stuff, everybody. I'm Matt Marr. You can find me at the Matt Marr, 2 T's, 2 R's, on the Twitter, the Instagram, and all that good stuff. And some other stuff here at AfterBuzz and on my own podcast, The Dear Maddie Show. All right, Sugars, we're going to see you next week for some Queer Eye, but one less queer. But the three of us will be
It'll
here.
be slightly less queer. 33% less queer.
Maybe. We might make Jimbo wear a dress. All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.